Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap. And in this video we're going to be talking a little bit about what we saw last weekend in North Wilkesboro, and we're also going to be talking about the triple header this weekend. I guess it's like a 5-header this weekend of racing. But before we go ahead and hop into the video, just want to quickly remind you guys, hit that like button and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it if you did that. And you can also check out our social media pages, which are linked down in the description. Let's go ahead and hop into the video. As always, I have my friend and co-host Matthew joining me on the show, and I think the last video I did by myself. I don't want to do too many of those because, you know, the fans love Matthew, and I don't want to do too many of those by myself. But anyway, it's good to have him back on the show, so Matthew has a feel to be back before we go ahead and hop into a lot of stuff that's happened over this past weekend. Probably the biggest weekend in racing motorsports of the year.
Well, I highly doubt that the people who watch these videos really missed me that much, but yeah, it's good to be back. Apologize in advance. I apologize for not being around too much lately because in my job, especially this time of year in the summertime, it gets very busy. So I've been swamped by that. So forgive me there. But man, well, weekend we had last weekend, I cannot wait for this weekend. The best weekend of all motorsports, where we have three crown jewel races, three different series from across the world, and it's gonna be an amazing weekend. So cannot wait for it.
Alright, before we talk about the Triple Crown Jewel this weekend, let's quickly talk about what we saw last weekend at North Wilkesboro. And, you know, all the talk in the news has been, oh, the next gen car stinks, the short track package is garbage, blah, 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 blah. We are gonna talk more about the track and what happened. As a lot of people probably already know, the last time this track was repaved was in the early 1980s, so basically 40 years since this track has been repaved. One of the main questions is, do people think this track should be repaved or not? I think it is time for a repave. The way that they quote-unquote fixed the track this weekend is they just basically put some sand slash rubber, I don't even know what it was, around the bottom of the racetrack, and that pretty much made it a one groove racetrack. And we all know the next gen car does not drive that well when you can just run one lane around the track the whole time. Look at Martinsville. Anyways, so yeah, I think it is time for North Wilkesboro to be repaved. It was nice to, you know, have like a throwback weekend vibe for them returning to the racetrack and running on a really worn out surface. But I listened to Denny Hamlin's Actions Instrumental podcast this week, and he sounds like he has like the perfect way for them to repave this racetrack. So where the top of the track is like a smooth repave and the bottom is a little more rough or something like that. And I hope North Wilkesboro, if they do decide to repave this racetrack, that they listen to the drivers and their input on how the track should be repaved, because the drivers should know better. But yeah, hopefully, if they do decide to repave it, that it'll be a good repave and it'll be a good race next year if the All-Star race comes back. Which kind of leads into my second point of, does North Wilkesboro belong on the schedule next year? I think it definitely deserves to be on the schedule. For what? I don't really know, and I'd be open to any kind of idea. Speedway Motorsports didn't get that loan of like $11 million or however many dollars it was for them to renovate the track for one race weekend, and then it'd be done again. So I think, you know, it should be on the schedule for several years to come. If they repave the track, it should be on the schedule even longer. I'm open to the idea of it being a points race. I'm also open to the idea of it being an all-star race again. I think it should be maybe one more year of the all-star race, and then maybe after that determine if it should be a points race or not. But if next year's a point race, I'm not going to complain either way. But I think maybe one more year of the all-star race would be better. But anyways, that's just quickly what I have to say about North Wilkesboro. Some other news coming really quick that happened in this past week. Alex Bowman is returning from injury this week at the Coke 600. It was looking like he wasn't going to, because Josh Berry was on the entry list initially, but now Alex Bowman is back. Hopefully his back and everything is feeling good enough to handle 600 miles on Sunday. It's going to be a long race, a very grueling one for him to return to. One thing I saw somebody say is I'm concerned about when he comes in for a pit stop and they drop the jack and the car kind of slams and hits the ground. I'm wondering how that's going to impact his back, if any. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of pit stops. So hopefully his back feels good and he'll be able to get through the race with no issues. And speaking of Josh Berry, it seems like there are a lot of rumors going around that he has found a cup ride for next season. I'm going to read a tweet directly from Jordan Bianchi. It says Josh Berry and Stewart Haas Racing are working toward finalizing a contract that will see Berry drive for the team full time in the Cup Series beginning in 2024, sources tell The Athletic. And it's kind of been brewing around for a little bit that this has been a rumor of Josh Berry potentially going to Stewart Haas Racing to fill in for Kevin Harvick next year after he retires. And, my reaction to this is that's probably the best available option for him next year. It's kind of frustrating to see him leave the Chevy family, especially after how close he is with Dale Jr. and what he's done for junior motorsports in almost every ranking, late models, Xfinity, all that kind of stuff. I was kind of hoping he'd be like a Justin Allgaier, where he just stayed in the Xfinity series for most of his career and was a veteran there, but I guess his opportunities in the next gen car to fill in for Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman caught some eyes, I guess a lot of eyes from Stewart Haas Racing, and they're able to probably put a deal together for him to race full time for them next season. So I'm excited for Josh Berry. It kind of stings a little bit he's leaving the Chevy family, but I'm also excited for him. He's definitely earned this spot in the Cup Series if all of these rumors are true. So very excited to see what he does next year as long as all those things come together. But Matthew, what do you have to say quickly about some of the stuff I talked about with Wilkesboro and then all this other news that has come out this past week?
All right, so I'm going to just go a little bit of random order here. First about Alex Bowman coming back, I'm glad he's back, but I guess my only concern is what he's coming to basically the longest race of the year, straight out of an injury like that, and that's a little concerning to me. But I'm no doctor. I don't study nursing and all that. So I know the doctors cleared him and all that, and NASCAR cleared him, of course. But it's still a little bit concerning considering this first race back is the longest race of the year, basically. Um, he might have to. I'm sure Josh Berry might have to stand by just in case he can't make it. But anyways, I'm glad he's back. Um, but so yeah. And as for Josh Berry signing with Stewart Haas Racing, it hasn't been official, but we know how these things go by now. It's pretty much true. It's when you see something like that come out, but I mean, I'm sure for Stewart Haas Racing, this is something a win basically. Um, you need someone to replace Kevin Harvick, and I feel like Josh Berry is a great guy to pick up. Of course, he's not a young driver like Chase Briscoe or yeah, like Chase Briscoe. Um, he's 32, but yeah, it, it's I'm sure Rick Hendrick himself is kind of kicking himself in the leg there, in this kicking himself basically because first he lost Noah Gregson to Legacy Motor Club, and now he lost Josh Berry to Stewart Haas Racing. That's the downside with Rick Hendrick's situation is that all this new talent, there's no place to go for Hendrick because all four of their spots are pretty much taken the long term. So yeah. If it's true, congratulations to Josh Berry. He absolutely deserves this opportunity. So, looking forward to see how he does next year, Stuart Haas. Um, as for North Wilkesboro and the All Star race last weekend, of course, the atmosphere. what the presentation there, it was done perfect. I mean, it was amazing to see a full on crown in the Truck Series. I mean, Jimmy, we haven't seen a full crown in the Truck Series like ever in a long time, basically. So that was great to see all the fans show up. But unfortunately, the All Star race was not that good, I'm afraid. Now, the heat races were decent, mostly just because of the rain tires being used there for the first time on the next gens, which I thought worked pretty great, to be honest. Like, I thought it would be an absolute wreck fest when they first do it, but it was actually pretty good, surprisingly. And then the open races never disappoint. Let's just be honest here. They always go crazy in this race, and they always try to get every spot they can, no matter what. So the open races never disappoint, and this one didn't either. But unfortunately, the All Star race still was forgettable. Of course, hard to blame his next gen car, of course, with the short track and all that, but I'm not gonna put all the blame on it because there are still a couple things that also need to change as well besides the car. I think one of them is also Goodyear with the tire that they brought. I'm getting sick and tired of Goodyear being so conservative with their tires. I know that they're like, we don't want our tires to blow every 30 laps because that's bad for business. But it's they're just being way too conservative. Conservative. Um, so they gotta be more aggressive. I don't care if the tower do blow out every 30 laps at this point. I just wish it stopped being so conservative that we barely see any difference. Um, but and then also the track itself, I think it should be repaved in my opinion. I mean, I love a good old worn out surface. It brings out the character, but unfortunately, there comes a time when you're like, okay, that's enough. We gotta repave. Just look at Atlanta, for example, a couple years ago. Yeah, everyone loved the old Atlanta, but unfortunately, even during the race, the pavement was coming up, and they had the red flag to patch up some of the pavement because it was coming up. So, as much as we love an old surface, unfortunately, it does come to a time that it has to be repaved. Like, there's no choice. The track is coming apart here. So, I think this should. And as for the future, I think it should stay as the All Star race for a few years. Maybe not the rest of the time, but for a few years at least, and then maybe go to a points race, and then put Rockingham in that All Star race. I think that would be even better. So that's my opinion. I think it should stay the All Star race for a few years, and then eventually down the line make it to a points race. But another thing that was also disappointing was the TV ratings. Texas Motor Speedway, even though we gave so much crap on that track, still beat North Wilkesboro in TV ratings. And that's the unfortunate part about North Wilkesboro. It's in the middle of nowhere. Yes, I know a bunch of fans came. It was a sold out crowd. I know. But when it comes to TV ratings, when you're in that small of a market, you're not going to get a lot of TVs turned on there because, well, there's not a lot of activity going on around that compared to freaking downtown Dallas, where it's a big city and big market means a lot of TVs to turn on. So that's probably why. Um, I mean, like I said, it's unfortunate, but in my opinion, Norfolk still should stay, in my opinion, even though the TV ratings were not good in the racing at the All Star race.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how the whole TV ratings thing works. Even if like you're going to a really hype event and it's in a really small market, it still doesn't get the TV ratings that a race in a big market and not a good performance. It's just crazy how that works. But anyways, I'm trying to figure out if I want to go on a rant.
I mean, it's kind of what's the word? It's kind of common sense here. I mean, if you're in a big, huge market, that means there's a lot more TVs around compared to North Wilkesboro, which is a very, very small town. There's probably not a lot of areas to turn on the TV. So that's just what I think.
Yeah, the whole town was probably at the racetrack, probably not watching it on their TVs. Um, I think I'm gonna save my I think I'm
True.
gonna save my rant for the end of the video, so I'll wait on that. But
Oh
um,
gosh.
it's not a bad rant. You'll see when I get there. But anyways, I'm gonna quickly go over the NASCAR schedule for the weekend as well as the Sunday schedule. So NASCAR Friday is truck practice and qualifying, Xfinity practice and qualifying, and the truck race on Friday night close to 9 o'clock. Saturday, we have the Xfinity race. It was moved up to about 12 o'clock, and Cup practice and qualifying is Saturday night at 7 o'clock. So that's going to be cool to see the Cup cars on track at night for practice and qualifying. It'll be a little bit more realistic for Sunday. Sunday, Cup green flag is around 6:30 that night. Rain is unfortunately looking pretty bad. Saturday 80%, Sunday 75%. So I don't know, have to see how it goes. We might have a Monday race or something like that, but obviously, I'm not going to update you
It's
guys.
fine by me because it's a holiday.
I'm not going to update you guys on a video, but check Bob Pockris. He's the guy when it comes to keeping up with news. So just follow him. He'll provide you guys with all those updates. But anyways, Sunday in general is probably the biggest day in racing of the year every year. Got the F1 race in Monaco in the morning on Sunday. Then we get the lunchtime, afternoon Indy 500, and then dinner time we got the Cup Series race, the Coke 600. Very excited. Hopefully, I should be able to watch all of those. Depends on the F1 race, what time that ends on Sunday morning, but I should be able to watch the Indy 500 and Coke 600 all the way through. Fingers crossed. But yeah, very excited to see all that happen this weekend. I'm trying to get a little bit into F1, a little bit, trying to. It's just not super enticing. Oh man, I forgot my joke. Man, I was gonna say the Monaco Grand Prix and then cough and be like that. Monaco, I mean Max Verstappen Grand Prix, but I forgot. So the joke's not even funny anymore.
He's catching on, folks. He's starting to understand all the F1 jokes now.
At least it made you laugh, but I did it. I did it too late. I was gonna do it in the heat of the moment, and I completely forgot about it. But, anyways, Matthew, what do you gotta quickly say about this weekend before we go ahead and finish this video up?
Well, I mean, you explained it all pretty well right there. But for me, starts out with good in the morning, great in the noon, and then fantastic at night. And I know that's going to be a very controversial statement I just made, but I don't care because that's my opinion. I think now the Coca-Cola 600 is the best race for last. Of course, the Indy 500 is always going to be a spectacular event. I just and F1, like you said, the Red Bull Grand Prix, basically. So, yeah.
All right. Well, quickly, I'm gonna go on my rant, and then I'll let you finish up with any closing thoughts you have. But I quickly want to finish out the video just by talking about, if you guys haven't seen on Twitter this week, but there was an incident with Bubba Wallace where there was somebody somehow hacked onto his radio channel and just said some completely inappropriate things on his radio channel. Thankfully, he was disconnected from the radio and didn't hear it, and he also gave somebody a gesture on pit road on live on camera on television and all of that. That wasn't related to that. That was something different. But anyways, back to the original point. I really just don't understand why a certain demographic of NASCAR fans that shall not be specifically mentioned just don't like Bubba Wallace. I mean, you can not like a NASCAR driver for several reasons. You could not like them because something they did to your favorite driver. You could not like them because of their sponsor. Like, for some reason, somebody might not like M&M's and they don't like Kyle Busch because they don't like M&M's. Who would be like that? I don't know. So you could not like them because of the manufacturer of car that they drive, like Toyotas. A lot of people just don't like Joe Gibbs Racing because they drive Toyotas. Like, you could not like NASCAR drivers for several different reasons, and that's okay. But, to not like a driver because of their color, their skin, that's, I don't know, it's just ridiculous. And that certain demographic of fans, I really don't understand them. I mean, if people are still upset about the whole Talladega scandal, like I know after NASCAR looked into it, the quote unquote noose or whatever it was, it turned out that it actually wasn't that and whatever, and people may think NASCAR really hyped that up for no reason and da 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 da. And then, sure, I could get why that's frustrating, but I don't see why that you should still not like Bubba Wallace because of that. I don't know. It was still an opportunity where people came together and embraced everybody and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't get it. It's just frustrating and annoying. Like, I mean, you cannot like Bubba Wallace because of his attitude. Yeah, I guess that's a thing, but it seems like most people just don't like him because of the color of his skin, and that's just not cool. It shouldn't be that way. So that's unfortunate that some NASCAR fans are like that. It takes a when something like this comes up about people chatting on his radio saying stuff like he doesn't deserve to be in NASCAR and whatever. It's just a really downing thing on the NASCAR community, and nobody loves to see that. But yeah, definitely shouldn't be praised. Definitely need to call people on that. Do better. Everybody needs to do better when it comes to all that kind of stuff. But anyways, Matthew, you can either comment about that or comment about anything else. But we'll go ahead and finish this video up. What do you guys say?
All right. Yeah, about that whole situation that unfortunately we have to sit here and talk about this again because I feel like it seems like the past couple of years we have to sit here and talk about these, excuse my French here, but I can't hold it back. These damn fools gotta act like, it's just, every time I think about this whole situation, I just can't wrap my head. Like, what makes you think it was a good idea to hack into not just any driver's radio scanner, like Bubba Wallace's scanner, and say what you said? Does that make you really feel better when you come home at night and sleep? Does that make you feel that better? Well, I hate to break it to you, but Bubba Wallace is living a better life than you are. That's for sure. He's out there racing, living his dream, making millions of dollars, and meanwhile you have to go back to your rusty old shack in in the fields, basically in the middle of nowhere. So hope you feel better, whoever did that. I don't think we'll ever know who did that, but yeah, I'm sure you feel real better about doing that. I'm sure it really helps, but yeah, this is a shame. I mean, that we still have to talk about this, even though I mean, Bubba Wallace, man. I know Bubba Wallace is he's not exactly a perfect driver. I mean, we've seen him make mistakes before. We've seen him done something stupid, like when he wrecked Kyle Larson on purpose, or get very emotional on interviews. I mean, it's okay to not like that part, but when you start not liking someone just because of a non-racing incident, then I'm sorry, you lose all credit right there. You lose all credit when you do that. So it's unfortunate that we have damn fools like that guy who are allowed to get onto a racetrack and access a scanner like that and start doing things like that. So I mean, when it comes to fools like that, I'm not gonna have a filter for them because they're pretty stupid for the most part. So yeah. That's all I'll say about that. I mean, I'm not. We're not trying to make this political. We're not trying to do that. It's just saying, just trying to say common sense here. And also, as for Alex Bowman coming back, just one more thing to note. I know NASCAR is now going to give him a lot of commercials and a lot of screen time, unlike a certain injured driver that came back from injury as well. Um, which is unfortunate because that's NASCAR's all about trying to make all their stars popular. And here, a NASCAR driver's coming back. You better give him as much screen time. You would think it'd be fair, but I doubt that ever happened because he doesn't have a famous last name. So, and it was even more sad. He's in the same organization. You would think they will do the same thing, but nope, nope. barely any post about it. Meanwhile, when they announced Chase coming back, I swear, 100 posts in an hour about him coming back from NASCAR's page on Instagram here or Twitter. Yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
Man, thanks a lot, Jimmy. You got me riled up now. Just
I
for
really
that.
want to know how much money NASCAR put into their marketing campaign of Chase Elliott coming back, because it had to have been.
You know, it's sad. It probably wasted millions of dollars just on those commercials alone. That's the sad part.
Yeah, it was probably a lot of money, and yeah. Anyways, yeah. Sorry to get you all riled up at the end of the video, but if everybody waited till the end of the video, you got to see all of it. You got to see us go off and have a little bit of a interesting conversation there at the end. But anyways, that's going to wrap this video up. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys check out our social media pages. Those will be linked down in the description. Hope you guys enjoy the long race weekend. But we'll see you guys in our next video.